it has been shocking is like the word that comes to mind. It has been shocking, destabilizing to see how the community or the broader community, both here in Canada but also in the States and around the world, has closed its doors to uh, LGBTQIA plus perspectives.
Today on Rainbow Country, StarWalker, a new Canadian queer film.
Hi, I'm Christopher Rice, and this is Rainbow Country with Mark Tara.
Corey Payette, hi, how are you?
I'm doing well.
I have to say, Corey Payette, thank you for being here, to have your voice, to have your story be heard by the LGBT community and beyond. So thank you for this, especially to talk about your film, a musical, StarWalker. This is an indigiqueer musical drama, essentially, an indigenous queer musical drama. I like to start from the ground and build up. Talk to me about essentially the story that you're telling in StarWalker. What's the story that you're getting at in this musical?
Well, StarWalker's about a two-spirit indigiqueer person who meets the House of Borealis, this fictitious drag house in East Vancouver. And that's where I live, and that's where the story is set. And they're meeting this house and these fabulous queer characters really transforms their entire life. It opens them up to a way of expression and artistic, uh, you know, uh, practice that they never knew that they had in them. But also, it introduces them to a love and a family and a home that they never knew that they needed. And so it was really like a perfect meeting for them in their life. And I think it's a universal story that many Indigenous, queer, people who are on the fringes, who are looking for that home, will be able to relate to.
So you write, you direct, you executive produce, you wrote the music, you wrote the lyrics. I think you even like sang the songs or some of them. Uh, the idea to make such an ambitious film, the idea to make this film, this musical, where did this idea originate from? To tell this to make a queer musical. Where did this idea come from?
Oh, well, I write musicals. That's what I do. Starwalker is about my fourth or fifth musical that I've written and had produced. It's something that I'm very passionate in. I'm really interested in using music as a tool to express emotions that are beyond words. So really thinking about music being a tool, and using it when characters can't speak. So in this case, with Star, the lead of the show, there's a lot of that communication that they don't know how to express their emotions. They don't know how to show up for their family and really be the kind of person within this house that supports one another, you know? And so that's a really fantastic opportunity to use music to give Star the moment to express that. And so thinking about music as a tool. And then outside of that is also just there's so much of this musical that is kind of the behind the scenes look at a drag house and at drag in general. And so really seeing and using the camera to go backstage and to follow performers into their dressing room and into different private conversations. I'm not really a performer anymore or an actor anymore, but back when I started, when I was an actress, I, you know, I had those when you're running shows and you're doing these kind of performances that are very high energy, and there's always, there's always drama backstage, and the audience never sees that. And so I felt like capturing that and telling that story was really interesting to me, and then also in addition to that, having the camera be sort of this like eye on the wall, sort of like
Hmm.
watching and seeing what's going
Like a fly
on.
on the wall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was really interesting to me, and I think something that really created a bit of a dance, a bit of a dance for the characters, where the camera was a part of that.
The very opening. You've got the very opening where there's no dialogue, and then that leads into the first musical number. It's very entertaining, really draws you in as a viewer. The opening to this film, StarWalker, was that always the plan to open the film the way that it does?
Yeah, I think the interesting part of it is being able to really create the world of this House of Borealis, and start that out where you really understand what people are so excited about. This is East Van, like, Value Village drag. We're not looking at doing RuPaul's Drag Race style drag, even though there is like a portion or some of that that's present within the film, but it really is about setting it in this place. And some of the most hilarious, charming, exciting, surprising drag I've seen in community, like in local drag, where you're seeing absurd things happen. You're seeing, really creative and funny and innovative stuff. And so that's really what I wanted to sort of start with and capture right off the bat. And then that is kind of cut between what Star's journey is and the sort of like hookup culture that he's living in, that I also feel like a lot of that is sort of another perspective within the broader queer community.
Because that's essentially what opens the film. You've got, the cityscape and this person walking, and where are they going to, and who are they going to hook up with?
Hmm.
I think it's fair to say it's one thing to write a script for, like a movie or something, but you're creating the music, you're writing the lyrics, you're doing all these aspects of this story. So, how long did it take you to write Starwalker? Like all the elements, the script, the lyrics, the music?
Well, I had the idea for the musical back in like 2016, 2017, but I was actually commissioned to write it as a stage play from a musical stage company in Toronto. I don't know if you know them, but they commissioned it in 2019. And so that's really where I started writing it. And I started it really from a personal exploration. I've always been two-spirit, and I've wanted a way to express that in my art that kind of help to have other people understand what that is, and because I didn't feel like that was something that was present within, like, certainly not the like quote unquote like typical gay community, for sure. There wasn't like a lot of awareness around that. And so I felt like this story could act as a vehicle to really share a unique perspective of two-spirit people, and also the gifts and the things that we have to offer to the community, one of which is the ceremonies and things surrounding like community care, basically. um and then on top of that was also trying to find a way to express more openly my own queerness. I'm a gay person. I have a husband. I've been gay my whole life, but the
Go on,
the
girl.
I know, right? But it's like, when people see my other shows, I've had people ask me about my wife, and I'm like, wait, what are
Mm,
you talking about? Like,
mm.
hello? Like, no. But I feel like I've had to come out. Not that I don't think it's ever people who have met me. It's just people who have engaged with my work over the years and just assume that I'm a straight person. And I'm like, girl, you have been like experiencing gay art in all sorts of ways that you have no idea. Like that it's in there. Everything that I've done has been part of my queer expression. Everything I've done has been a part of my indigenous expression. It's a part of me, right? It's a part of who I am. Um, and I wanted to find a way to tell that story and to get that out there that was more in terms of the like forward narrative, that it's like this is going to be uh a real celebration of what it means to accept yourself, what it means to find love. So many of the stories that have been out there, when I was growing up of gay people has always been about the coming out story or about the abuse or beatings and violence, which absolutely has a place, and that story needs to be told, and it has been told very well. But I didn't see the love story, the deep affection that happens between queer people, where we are almost like filling out a part of our family, and certainly there are stories that have those elements that I'm talking about, but I really wanted to see a story rooted in joy and in acceptance, and really it's almost like the coming out story, but what happens next? That it's not just the coming out, it's like, how do you then build a life? How do you then create community and find a way to accept yourself so that you can thrive?
Now that the film is done, would you ever see a time when it's remounted as a musical again on
Sure,
stage?
anything's possible. I know that these stories, there are so many extraordinary drag queens out there who have so many talents. Like it's like, it's overflowing. And so I just feel like that's totally possible. And I also see that as my responsibility as a storyteller, to put these shows out there, to put these films out there, so to kind of like let people know there are roles for you. There's a space for you. Like, we want you, and there's also some fun songs, that are like, there for you to sing.
Is there a soundtrack?
There is, yeah.
And is it available?
Not yet, but we're going to be releasing it
Mm,
this year.
well done. The title, StarWalker, is there a story behind this particular title and choosing it?
Yeah, well, basically, it's really about Star. So in the beginning, it's like it's a name that Star was given as a nickname from his parents, but he's estranged from his parents, and this becomes sort of something that he's known for. It's not meant to be taken literally, but then when he meets the House of Borealis, being called Starwalker is quite a fortuitous thing, and feels like he's kind of meant to be with them. So it has a bunch of resonance around fate, around really kind of meeting people in an unexpected way, and also kind of finding something in yourself that you didn't actually know was exceptional and special, that others in your family help you to bring out.
Well said, well said. I have to say, Corey Payette, well said, well done, well filmed, well made. Thanks for your time. Thanks for being on the show. Very
Oh, thank you
entertaining.
so much. It's great to meet you.